fool, wanna be cool, wanna be love, 너와의 same love. Baby, I want it.
네가 올리는 모든 사진마다 좋아요 남발하는 처음 보는 저 남자. 누구야? 아 맞다, 나 이제 남자친구 아니지. 자연스레 네 번호 눌렀잖아. 전화나 카톡 하자니 꼭 치는 것 같고 뭐라도 안 하면 나 신경도 안 쓸 것 같아. 싫어요 버튼은 없는데 싫어져 30몇 명중 하나가 되는 게 여기도 좋다고 저기도 좋다고 한 번만 놀자고 왜 그리 겁냐고 어수비 이제 내 것도 아닌데 왜 뺏기는 것 같은지. 넌 나 없이 참 잘 사네. 눈꽃이 오니까 노는 것 좀 살살해. 목까지 올라온 저 줄에 삼키고 오늘도 좋아요 누르지.
넌 남이 되고 오히려 더 좋아 보여 pretty woman. Yeah, 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 yeah. 얄밉게도 여전히 더 좋아 보여 pretty woman. Oh pretty woman. Wanna be cool, wanna be love, 너와의 same love. I know it's over, yeah. Don't wanna be fool, wanna be cool, wanna be love, 너와의 same love. Baby, I want it.
친구 놈이 너는 좋아요로 보이는 네 얼굴은 훨씬 좋아 보여. 새 남친과 찍은 사진 속 택 덕분에 추억 속으로 난 백스페이스. 그 세상은 어느새 다들 멈춰 있는데 난 왜 여전히 그 시간에 걸쳐 있는데 넌 내 생각을 할까 고민하며 좋아요를 누를까 말까 수십 번을 반복해. 너의 마음은 마치 단두대 처럼 나를 싹둑가차 없이 잘라냈지만 난 도깨비 감투 몰래 다가가 너의 일상생활은 맨날 보내. 그때마다 머릿속은 108번 내 oh shit. 내 생각은 할까 고민하며 좋아요를 누르지 말자.
넌 남이 되고 오히려 더 좋아 보여 pretty woman. Yeah, 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 yeah. 얄밉게도 여전히 더 좋아 보여 pretty woman. Oh pretty woman. Wanna be cool, wanna be love, 너와의 same love. I know it's over, yeah. Don't wanna be fool, wanna be cool, wanna be love, 너와의 same love. Baby, I want it. 너 요즘에 어떻게 지내고 있나 궁금해 보니 좋아요가 됐나. 나 없이 잘 사는 네가 왜 생각났지 찾아온 건 한심한 나도 누르고 갈게 네그 위에 난 요즘 너 없이 이렇게 지내. 난 남이 되고 오히려 좋아 보여 pretty woman. Yeah, 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 yeah. 얄밉게도 여전히 더 좋아 보여 pretty woman. Oh pretty woman. Wanna be cool, wanna be love, 너와의 same love. I know it's over. Don't wanna be fool, wanna be cool, wanna be love, 너와의 same love. Baby, I want it.
So, our next segment is called Army Review, and this is... Do you want to actually introduce it?
Yeah, so in Army Review, we're going to continue with going over the songs album by album that we were doing on the previous podcast. So if you're missing some of the songs on Army Time, we've already done them on the Bangtan Collective podcast, which is on Wednesdays. But so we're going to be continuing with that until we get to the end, which will probably take a long, long time. But
3 years. And in the meantime, BTS will come out with more music, so this segment will never end.
that is true. But I was thinking, like, after we got through the songs, we could go over things like music videos, but that's probably never going to happen because they have such a wide discography. But I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main things that I love about BTS is just their music. Their music is phenomenal. There's so much to it, so much to the lyrics, so much to the different genres they work with, the different talents that each of the members brings to each song. And I just could talk about their music for hours. So I really wanted to.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Their music is a 3D experience, right? Like, it's you don't just sit there and passively listen to it. It's interactive if you want it
Yeah.
to be. It's as
Yeah.
interactive as you'd like it to be. You want to go
Yeah.
delve into, you know, the lyrics. You want to look at the music video. They're like the BU.
You want to relate it to their journey and their personalities.
Yeah. So it's 3D, and that's why I think also why we all like it so much, because it's not like, here's a song, enjoy. It's, here's an experience, enjoy.
Yeah, and I kind of explained this before on an episode where even some of their songs that aren't my cup of tea musically, I can still like because maybe I like the choreography to it a lot, or maybe I like the lyrics to it a lot. So even if it's not my type of thing in one sense, it usually is in a different sense. So there's always something about their music that you enjoy. Like, I don't think there's a single song that they have where I don't like all of the elements, the music video, the choreography, the lyrics, the sound of it, I don't think there's a single one I could pick out that I don't like something about it.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So on that note,
Yeah.
let's talk about these 2 songs today.
Okay, so we played this one in our intro this week, and you'll be getting the next one in the outro. So, Like. Now, I've said before that Like is one of my favorite songs musically. It just makes me feel so happy when I listen to it. I think the fact that it came out so early and it sounds so good is amazing. And I love the kind of like laid back R&B old school type vibe it gives off, the mixing with like the rapping and the vocals harmonizing over the top of it. So I really love that about this song. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the lyrics, and we can get into why, but yeah, that's my overall.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, before we were going to talk about this, I don't think I had ever really looked up the lyrics to it.
Me neither.
I thought it was a happy song. And then I looked at the lyrics, and the song is actually about, like, you know, being broken up and missing your old love and being annoyed that your love seems to have moved on and is having a great life. And you're still miserable. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, and I mean, I knew the basic premise that it had something to do with social media likes, because I think I'd skimmed the lyrics, but I hadn't like analyzed them. But yeah, like when I fully read the lyrics and like went into it, and I'll explain more when we go through the lyrics, but I think the reason I'm not the biggest fan of them is that their approach to love and to relationships back then, I feel like was very akin to their age, was quite an immature way of seeing it. And I think they've grown so much in how they now talk about love and about relationships. So seeing this and seeing these types of lyrics and these types of feelings towards love, it makes sense, but it's not something that I would personally relate to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what you said is accurate, that they came out with this at a time when they were much younger, and the people listening to the music, I think we can all remember a time when we thought of romance and relationships like this. So even if you don't necessarily think this is the healthiest way of approaching it, you can still go, yeah, been there, had those feelings.
100%. And I think that's one of the things, like, I will pick apart some of their lyrics that I don't think are the best way of approaching things, because that's just me. I'm going to be honest about it. But I also want to make clear the fact that I've felt that way in the past. I've had unhealthy ways of viewing different concepts like love and friendships and things like that. It's very normal to go through that. And I think they have received enough downright hate for some of their lyrics when people weren't really thinking about it in the way that it was, you know, in the bigger context of things.
Yeah. Okay, so then for like, do you want to give an overview of the lyrics?
Yeah, okay. So obviously we have kind of just the hook, which is just talking about like want to be cool and want to be loved and all this type of thing. So when it comes to like the different verses, I really like the way that they play around with this social media imagery. So the song is basically saying about how when you break up with somebody, and then you see their pictures on social media, like it makes you think of them and you have this kind of internal battle of like, should I like that photo and who else is liking that photo? And does this mean she's moved on? Oh, I'm seeing her with a new boy. Who's that? Or things like that. And I liked how each of the rappers kind of went through this debate of whether I should like the photo or not. And some of them do and some of them don't. And so it's very clever in the way that they have made a love song all around this idea of a like on a photo. I like that.
Yeah,
Like.
agreed. I was hey. I was gonna add to that and say I actually really enjoyed the fact that the three of them had different takes on what they would do in that situation, like the three rappers, and all of them just were sad. Like I'm like I want my answer is D, none of the above. Like Namjoon goes first, and he's like I see your picture with your new guy. There's all I think he's saying that he did like it, but then he's like, now I'm just one of like 30 people who liked your photo, so I'm like nothing. I'm nothing. One of the masses. Yeah, and he was like, I feel pathetic. And then let's see,
and
Suga,
he says, why is there no hate button? And he has this conflict.
You saw hate as the translation? I saw dislike as the
dislike,
translation.
yeah. I mean, I'm using Dulcet. I usually use their translations, but I think dislike seems more accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, I like her translations a lot better. I think it's a she. But I think I'm on Genius lyrics right now. Can I just say, I'm so proud of Genius for, like, I remember the time before BTS lyrics were on Genius lyrics. Like they were not recognized as a group that deserved to have lyrics on there. And then I watched all of their like newer stuff appear on there. Cool. And then they went back and put in all of their old lyrics, and I was just like, yeah, it felt very validating.
That's pretty cool, yeah. Anyway, what's Hobie's approach? Oh no, it's Yoongi next, isn't it?
Yeah, Yoongi's like, let's see, what does he say? He's just like, he decides not to do anything, and he hates himself for it. He's just like, I'm tormented by the fact that I did nothing. And I'm like, sad. And then
he's like, would you even notice? Like, are you even thinking about me at all?
Yeah, and then I like how he calls himself a goblin.
Yeah, I actually have so on Dulcet's translations, apparently a goblin's hat. So he says, I wear a goblin's hat. And apparently a goblin hat is the Korean equivalent of a cloak of invisibility.
Oh, cool. That's very helpful.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So he's basically saying, like, he's watching from afar without making his presence known.
Yeah, and he hates himself. He's like, awesome, you still can't see me. I'm lurking.
I'm obsessed, and you don't care.
Yeah, and then the last one, Hobie says, I think, he likes it, and he's like, I'm gonna show you that I'm fine. I'm gonna like it and move on. And then he's like, I liked it and I hated myself for doing it. Because he just he's like, I the only thing that finds me is pity for myself.
Yeah, and he says as well, where is it? That he's checking out of curiosity, and so many other people have liked it. So, like, from this, he's taking it that they're doing so much better than he is. And so I really liked that element as well, and how each of them kind of have their own personal struggle with it. So I do want to go over some of these lyrics and why I don't think they're healthy. And again, I want to make
go for it, Billy.
Yeah, I want to make clear that, like, I don't blame them in any sense, because when I was 17, I was very much the same way, and only when growing up have I kind of been able to see things in a different way. But there are problems with these lyrics, and it is important to point that out, because young people who might read them, or, like, you know, it's just, I think it's important to notice when things aren't necessarily good, even if they come from your favorite group. So I am
Billy,
gonna
put on your feminist hat. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So first of all, there's a lot of jealousy in these lyrics, in the terms of, oh, you can't be with anybody else. And don't party so hard. And like it says here, I get jealous, so don't party so hard. And like, again, I think it's very much a young way of viewing relationships and breakups. Like when you break up with somebody, you're very much like, oh, you're not allowed to be with anybody else and you shouldn't party so hard because that makes me feel like shit. But
yeah, this
it's
is like
not
that.
healthy.
Yeah, well, what about like, you know how people always go like there should be a mourning period after a breakup where neither side dates anyone or does anything, and then you can move on, and then there, you know, or but usually it's like you thought the mourning period was maybe, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, or several months, and the other person thought the mourning period was like, I don't know, a day, and then you're like, how dare you move on faster than me?
Yeah, and I mean, it always tends to be that competition, doesn't it, of like which one's doing better faster and things like that.
Okay.
Okay, so like the other thing I wanted to mention is like this obsession with social media and with appearances of things and how many people like something, and that must mean that you're popular, or how happy you look on social media, or like how often I'm checking up on you on social media and things like that. And again, I think it's very relatable, and I think it's a big problem in general in society, but it's not a good way of thinking, and we shouldn't be this obsessed and this involved in social media and believing it, and it can become very damaging to ourselves. And yeah, I think that's important to note when reading through these lyrics, is that this isn't a good way of feeling about a relationship. This isn't how you should approach it when you have a breakup. You should try to go about it in a more healthy way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's also difficult to understand what is the proper way of dealing with relationships in our age of social media.
Yeah.
I'm married. My husband is also in Army, and I met him around the time when like people were just beginning to be more prevalent on social media, especially like romantically. It was like right as like all of those dating apps were coming out as well. So like I've never had much personal experience with like just dealing with people romantically through the internet, through social media.
I have.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So like all my other friends, like they all go through this stuff, and I'm like what is the right way of dealing with relationships? Like what is the healthy way? And it's not like there's a guidebook anywhere, right? We're all still, as people, collectively trying to figure out what is proper social etiquette on social media and what isn't. And is it okay to ghost someone? Is it not okay? Should you give people who you've broken up with access to your social media, or should you block them? Like, what is painful to do and what is cathartic? Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, like, the point about this song, I think, is that they're not saying this is the best way of being. They're not actively putting it out there that we should be doing this and this is the best way of doing it. So again, like when I'm making these comments, it's not that I'm judging their mindsets. It's more that I like to make it clear that I don't agree with this way of being. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I do. And I do think it's important to say it, right? Because when we don't say things, everybody, even if they disagree, are just like, well, I guess this is the common way of thinking about this. Might as well get on board. And that's not the case. Yeah.
And I mean, again, I think it's very cleverly done how they have broken up these lyrics. And I really like the metaphor of the should I dislike, and things like that. And I think it's very relatable for people at that age. I know me personally, when I've had a breakup, I've literally like checked every half an hour to see if somebody's uploaded a new picture and how many likes they are and who it is that's liked that. But that's so bad, and it's so negative and toxic for you, and it does not help. And so I think it's a relatable song for people that age, for people who are just experiencing like their first breakups and things like that. But I also think it's important to know that you should try not to be this way. Yeah.
Agreed. I'm also just gonna note we're having some lag issues, so I think your audio came through just fine. I'm not sure if your video did, but to be honest, it's what we're talking about that's important. So
Yeah, true. Yeah. I think we've fixed the lag, maybe, hopefully.
I think
So yeah, I just had a couple more points to add before we move on, and they'll just be quick ones. So I wanted to say that like this song in comparison to the rest of the album is such a like wide U-turn. It's so different. Like the album is very hip hop rap heavy, and this is the only song in the main album that is more has a bigger focus on vocals and is kind of slower and more R&B and chill. So I think that's nice to have that bit of versatility in their first album like that. And
so.
what are you gonna?
I just wanted to say, like, I think this is just me in my head, but I think they were obviously worried about the longevity of their own group. So they might have just told themselves, look, if we only have one shot, one mini album, can you call it an album? Or is it an EP?
Yeah, it's like a mini album.
Yeah, but they were like, what kind of messages do we want to give? Right? Like this is the album where you have their debut song, No More Dream, you have Bulletproof Part 2, No, and then you have this song, and then you have their outro skit. And I think between all of those songs and the skit, they were trying to show, here's who we are, here's the things that matter to us, the messages that matter to us, and here's our range of ability. We can give you hard-hitting, thought-provoking music, and we can also give you a raw, honest, like, R&B track. And, like,
And I
we are
think
capable. Yeah.
I think as well, like out of the whole album, this song is probably the safest. Like, this is the least kind of
Controversial.
this is different, controversial. Yeah, like it's a sweet kind of relatable breakup song that has like an easy to listen to melody, and like I think they might have just put in like, and I'm not saying it's bad because I love this song. I just think it's safer. And I think it's good to have that one song that kind of changes the tone and shows that you can do both. And I think they probably added this for that as well. Plus, it just shows off the vocals more because even though you can hear the vocalists in the other songs, you can't appreciate their actual voices in the same way as you can on this track.
Yeah, because they're not front and center. The raps are the front and center in the other songs.
And so my last point is just how adorable this choreography is. I love this choreography. It's so cute. And there's one specific performance of them performing it where they're wearing like school uniforms and they just have these like, excuse my language, shit-eating grins on their faces. And it is so adorable. And I literally watch it and I cannot stop smiling because it's so cute. And
Send this to me. I need to see this.
I will. It's so, you won't even believe it because literally like they're just like smiling slyly at the camera all the time and I'm like, don't you look at me like that. Anyway.
Yeah. Have you seen their performance of this from American Hustle Life?
The one at the end of like series concert they put on.
Yeah, they're like show and tell thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cute.
And also, we have to point out how amazing their ARMYpedia version of it as well was, because that was everything.
That was like a reboot of their original songs.
Yeah, that was actually how I found this song, because when I was first learning about BTS, I didn't listen to all of their albums at first, and I would just watch videos and things like that. And I knew No More Dream, and I knew what was the other one they performed?
No?
No, it was the.
Oh, from that thing? It's
It sounds like
just
Sweet
one
Turn
day.
Me On. That's the one.
Just one day.
Yeah.
I don't know your
That's
song
how I
reference.
remember it. The lyrics, like it's a misheard lyric. It sounds like Sue Eat Turn Me On. You can listen to it and find
we're
it.
gonna have to listen to this together, and you're gonna have to show me.
Okay. Anyway. And yeah, so I knew those two songs because they both had music videos, but I hadn't heard this song. And then I heard it for the first time on ARMYpedia, and I was like, this is so good. And then that's actually one of the things that prompted me to go and listen through their whole discography from start to finish, because I was like, how do I not know this song?
I mean, ARMYpedia is the reason I loved the songs that they chose for it, because it was them showing, hey, you remember those original songs that we, made? Those were bomb even back then. We may not have had the recording capabilities or vocal abilities back then, but we've developed. And here's those same songs rebooted with the skills and abilities and resources that we have now. And boom, aren't they amazing?
And that's the exact same thing they did at the end of year award shows this time around, and I was living for every second of it.
I screamed every time they did Bulletproof Part 2. No, I was just then them lying about they lied at the muster as well, right where they would always say, like, Jimin would be like, oh, I can never do that jump again, like, this dance is too hard, we can't do it anymore. And then they did it at muster and at the year-end shows, and I'm like, yeah, you can't do it anymore, look at you, you're amazing.
Because this is the thing, and like, we're going off onto a tangent, but I just have to say this. So please, can we change the screen? Thank you.
Yes, we're using this.
We're using it for the first time. Yay. Anyway, how amazing is the fact that they literally, like, they were so underappreciated when they first came out with this, and they had killer dance routines. Their lyrics were so badass, and they were just like, yeah, you don't believe in us, we're gonna show you all. And none of them were appreciated. None of the songs were like given the recognition they needed. And now when they're at the top of their game, they come out and are just like, oh yeah, you think we weren't good back then? Oh, how's this? And it was everything.
And I loved when they did it at the year-end shows, because you had everyone forced to watch it and be like, hey, remember all those songs you ignored and wouldn't give the time of day to? Now you have to watch them.
And you have to watch them as the final closing number of your show. Thank you.
Yeah, it was the biggest FU, and I loved every minute of it.
Me too.
And also, to be fair, like, conceptually it made sense, right? Because they were kind of trying to hint or transition into Map of the Soul, which is all about your identity and where you come from and how you got from where you were to where you are now. And so obviously it makes sense to do older songs again, to like revisit them. So conceptually that makes sense, but also it was such a beautiful FU, and I know ARMYs loved it everywhere. My Twitter was exploding because we were all so freaking smug. And, and
literally,
and it's well deserved.
So petty. I felt so petty, and I was just like, this feels so good, and it was just the best. Okay, going back. So the next song we have is
Outro Circle Room Cypher. Can you call it a song?
Yeah, I think it's more of a skit.
Yeah,
I would say. So
okay, do you want to explain what the skit is about?
So the basic thing that I got from it is just them kind of talking about how I think they're at school. I think this takes place in school.
I think it's school got out, and they're visiting Yoongi in his studio.
Right, yeah. So I suppose this kind of leads on from the skit that they had in the previous album when they were in like a break from school. So anyway, and Yoongi says that he's produced a killer beat and that they should just all mess around and like try and rap to it together. So, I mean, I don't have too much that I want to say about the lyrics here, apart from that it's just their personalities coming through and you kind of get to learn a little bit about each of them. But the main thing that I take from this song is it's just kind of like a way of them bonding and showing that they just like music
They
and
just
hip
like
hop
hip
in
hop.
general. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I need to turn my page because my notes are on the other side. But so what did you think of this for starters?
I was gonna say, adding on to the comment I was making before about how I felt like this album was them showcasing what they could do. This was them also, right? Because they would always say that, oh, hip hop music, hip hop albums have skits in them. So here's us doing a skit, and here's us in a scenario of, you know, the supposed day to day, right? That they're
And doing a cypher, I just want to add, which is so like typical of hip hop, is just to put on a beat and just go around and like do your thing on it.
Yeah, so that was them saying like we live and breathe this stuff. We're not fake. Like this is what we really like. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't like actually on the spot freestyle. I'm sure they thought of what they wanted to say, but this was them trying to showcase like, here's who we actually are. We're not fake posers. We actually love hip hop and we love doing ciphers. We love making beats and we love like being together. And because like at one point, like in the beginning where Yoongi's like, oh, I made another beat, do you guys want to hear it? And then Jungkook's like, again you wrote another one. And then Taeyong's in the background going, why do we always record? Like
Can we have a break?
Yeah, it was them saying like, just I don't know, just like conveying without saying out loud, like, this is who we are, and like you should pay attention to us because we're not trying to be fake, we're trying to be real.
And not just that, I think as well that like this is a risky song to put in an album, like because it's not a song, it's something else, and it just shows from the beginning that they're breaking the mold based on their sincerity and how they feel about things, and just they love hip hop and this is what hip hop is about, so that's what we're going to include, whether it's the most likely for people to bop to or to like be their favorite track or to fit the majority. That doesn't matter. What matters is that we want to show our love for hip hop and for music, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. Can we go through what each of their short little raps is about?
Yeah, but before we do that, I just so I went back and rewatched Yoongi's album review for this album. You know, when he used to do them, they were so cool, and I'm sad that he doesn't do them anymore. But so
we can
he
go
was
back to this when we do stuff later.
So he was talking about why they did it. And so he said, if you ask why we did this, we just wanted to show that we genuinely love hip hop. Being good or bad at it is a secondary fact. So like that's the reason, like he said so himself. And I think the important thing to note in those quotes is he's saying it doesn't matter if you're good or bad at it. And we get all the vocalists having a try, and it reminded me a lot of what Hobie said in American Hustle Life as well, where he said that like when he first joined, it was just all rappers and they always used to just freestyle around each other, and he would join in even though he didn't really know what he was doing at that point. And it just makes you think that this is something they probably did a lot and they wanted to just include it because it just rang true for them.
Yeah. You know, I had not actually heard Yoongi's review for that one, so it makes me feel happy that I guessed the reason and was right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, or can we go through their parts?
I just wanted to say that they use Satori. I never know how to pronounce it. Do you know how?
Satori?
Satori. Okay, there we go.
you know?
Satori.
Satori.
Yeah.
I don't speak Korean.
Yeah, same. But yeah, they use that a lot, and they use a lot of like regional references, which I thought was really cool as well in this, which I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
wish
we
I
got Tay
understood
in a
them better.
Cypher.
Yes.
Okay.
I wonder when for him, I don't know if we know this, do we? Like when he changed his mind to be a part of the vocal line instead of part of the rap line.
I'm pretty sure that that is not true. I think that's a false rumor that is commonly known in the fandom, and a lot of people think that he joined as a rapper, but he actually didn't. So I don't think that that's actually true, but I'm not 100% sure.
I wonder if anybody could give us any more concrete information, because if it's a rumor, I would love to be set straight, because I didn't know it was a rumor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is, but I'm not 100%. Yeah. Well, somebody, if you know, I'm sure you have like receipts or something, as Army always has receipts. Let us know the facts for that one.
Straight
Yeah.
facts, no copies.
So let's go over each of theirs then.
Okay.
Actually, before we do that, which one is your favorite?
Of them all, like when doing this?
Yeah.
I think Jin's part is really funny. But I think I really like Yoongi's. And I'll tell you why if once we start talking about it.
Okay. I like JK's the most.
Yeah, I love his part too. I don't know. You put me on the spot. I don't like picking favorites. I love all.
Yeah. Like Jimin said in that interview. Do you remember?
I relate to that comment, and I say it every day of my life. I don't like picking favorite anything. I can give you a collective of things I like, with no one thing being the best.
But you always ask me to rate everything on the spot, so there you go.
I'm also hypocritical. It's fine.
I think we've got lag again.
Oh crap. Okay, let me restart. Okay, so going into the lyrics, the first one who raps is Yoongi, and I don't know if you noticed, but he talks about his tongue again. It started from the beginning. Yeah. So like he's always been very proud of his tongue and how well he can use it. And I find that very admirable, and I don't really know what else to say, because I feel like I'm gonna blush.
Yeah, I find it interesting. That's all I will comment.
He just has an oral fixation.
Yeah, apparently so.
But yeah, and then I like that he goes, "Our music makes the women cry."
Like, is that a good thing? Cry in what sense? Because if we're meaning crying in like a different kind of crying, then a bit raunchy.
I didn't think of it that way, but now you're making me see it in a whole new light. Woo!
Yeah, well, it might be. You never know. Like, come on.
With him, yeah.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I saw somebody say on Twitter today that they think that Yoongi is the least horny member, and I was like, have you listened to any of his songs?
All of his lyrics are the most sexual.
Yeah, literally, exactly. So
I'm gonna shut that one down right there.
Yeah, okay. Moving on.
Yeah, so after Yoongi, Namjoon goes, and by the way, he has a line that says, "I'm the igatan that heals you," and I actually googled that, and that is a remedy for gingivitis, igatan. A Korean remedy for gingivitis, and if anybody wants to correct me or provide more information, please do, because all I have is Google. But
what is our friend?
Yeah, but I was just looking at that and I was like, I don't know what that is. Why is it healing me? Oh, he's trying to say that, like, I'm so good for you. I heal your gingivitis. I don't know. But yeah, and then I liked his he has like a bunch of metaphors in his rap where he's just like, Pompeii, you just erupted, cover up those mountains.
Yeah, I love that he just literally throws it in there like a historical event. Like, why not? Let's talk about Pompeii. Who comes up with that? Like, on just like, now I'm gonna talk. Well, that is very true.
Namjoon's just gonna use his big brain, and he's gonna make you feel twice as stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he ends it, and he's like, wait, guys, I need to pee.
Which is the most like going from RM to Namjoon thing I've ever seen, and I love it.
Yeah, and then they all like freak out over it and they think it's funny. All right, so then after that, Jungkook goes, and he's just saying that, well, first of all, he's like, this isn't my first time rapping, and I'm like, yeah. And then he had all those comments about like brand names, where he's like, honestly, I don't know all these brand names, but he's just like, if you measure up its brand name setting, suited to an MC, all that MCM. I don't know what MCM is. But then he's like, Gucci, Alexander McQueen. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I know those ones. I think I like his the most just because I feel like he goes the hardest. Like, in his tone of voice and everything. Also, it says, I cover them all during the summer, then I catch them all. And I was like,
that Pokemon?
It's too early for Pokemon. Like, that hasn't come out yet, JK. Yeah, I'm so glad. Do you see this like intuition we have going on here? Love it.
Yeah, one brain cell.
Yeah,
one.
All
right, and then after is Taeyang.
Yeah.
I like where he's just like complimenting his Hyung's, and he's like, Namjoon Hyung's lyrics, he's all mature now. I'm like, that's kind of also a backhanded insult.
Yeah, it's like, what was he before?
Yeah, or I think he was also making fun of Hobie for like getting stomach aches when he's nervous. I feel like I saw some kind of like Bangtan bomb way back when that was like when they all get nervous, they all get stomach aches and just
go to the bathroom a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I like how at the end he's like, Yoongi Hyung, you alive, son?
Oh my god. Now, see, I think this might be a stretch because I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going to make a guess. I think he might be like talking about their regions because I have a feeling that like Go Make Us Some Kimchi is like it might be linked to that. And I'm pretty sure when he says Yoongi Hyung, you alive, son, he says it in a Daegu accent. Yeah, that's what Genius told us. Oh, it is?
Yeah. Like someone highlighted, it's like an unconfirmed comment on Genius, but they're like, this isn't Satori.
Ah, okay, yeah. I just kind of guessed based on how it sounded.
Nice.
But so that might be completely wrong, I'm just guessing, but it would be quite cool if he was like talking to each of them in terms of their regions. Yeah.
Can anyone help us out here?
Yeah,
any Korean speaking armies, please help.
Song, if you're there. That's our resident Korean.
Just one.
She's the one on the channel. She's part of the channel. You'll meet her. She's great.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Hi. All right. So after that, Hobie goes. And I really like his part in this because
so do I actually.
It's very rhythmic. I've always loved his ability to be very melodic and rhythmic in how he raps because it's just this extra layer. And for someone who can't speak Korean and understand all of those references and meanings from the get-go, the way he does it, I don't need to know what the lyrics are. I hear the rhythm and I'm like, yeah, I'm into this.
He's very bouncy with it. Like he goes like up and down and up and down and like he plays with his rhythms and his kind of tones of voice. And I think it's something that has stayed the same from the beginning until now. He's just very good with that kind of like playing around in and out of the beats in terms of like how his tone shifts and like his delivery of things. So I really like that.
I think that relates to his just his dancing background, right? You know, when you dance around a rhythm and like maybe not on it, in front of it, behind it.
Yeah.
I just think
And you have to be very, you have to be very in tune with like not just the bass beat, but also like the offbeat and the like double beat and just everything in a piece of music.
Yeah, and I love that he took that and he's like, I'm gonna bring that to rap. I'm not gonna change myself to be the rapper that everybody else is. I'm going to bring who I am and add that to rap.
Yeah, and it honestly makes him quite a unique rapper in the sense that I couldn't name anyone, I think, that has the same kind of approach to rap as he does.
Same. I don't think I could either.
I also wanted to point out that he talks about Gwangju and Jeollado as well. Every time I pronounce a Korean word, I just feel ashamed afterwards. So please excuse me. But
Same.
it happens every time I pronounce a Korean word. I'm like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Anyway, yeah, he talks about this like in so many of his songs, and like I just love that he has been doing it right from the beginning, like being proud of his region and where he comes from and highlighting it. So that was cool.
Yeah. I love their pride in where they come from, because I don't have that pride, right? I don't come from where they come from, but I understand that feeling. So when I see it from them, I also feel proud on their behalf. I'm like, yeah, that's right. You do represent.
Yeah. And I tell you what else I like about it. Because from what I know about the different regions in Korea, they have like conflicts with one another. And certain regions have conflicts with other regions and things like that. And what I love about it is that each of them are proud of their region, but they also like have formed this unified bond between them all that makes like, it just goes to show that like conflicts and things like that like doesn't need to be the case. And obviously they talk a lot more, and we'll talk a lot more about it when we get to Satori rap. But yeah, I love that about them.
Yeah, no, same, exactly. Thank you for putting that into words. I've always felt like that as well.
Yeah, you're welcome.
They're just a musical representation
of unity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. So after Hobie,
my name is Jin.
Is Jin's verse, and it's so stupid, and I love it. I love it so much.
I know.
And the thing is like, you know that they thought about what he was gonna do, and he's like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a good rapper.
Although he's improved.
I mean, like now, yeah, but just like back then, he's like, I'm not gonna pretend to be what I'm not, and I don't even care if I make a fool of myself or if it's cringy, and it is cringy, and I love it, and I just keep laughing. And every time I rewatched it, like preparing for this, I would cringe more and more because I'd know what was coming, and all of them in the background are like, "What are you doing?" No.
Oh, no, but I tell you what I love about it is like how they're all completely hyping up this just terrible rap, and I love it because it's like it's the type of thing I would come out with if I tried to rap. But like I love how he's like, my name is Jin, and they're like, Jin in the background.
Yeah.
And it's just what you need from friends to just be like, yeah, you got this. This sounds great. Keep going.
Yes.
I love that.
And then he's like, my nickname, Jin Da. So my nickname is Jin, and my stage name is Jin.
Jin. Yeah.
It's like,
it's the best.
Nobel Prize right there.
Yeah, and it just gives it such a like light-hearted and like
relatability,
fun. Yeah, and it just from day one it shows their crackhead side and their side that's not ashamed to just make fun of themselves and have a laugh and be silly. And, yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And then after that, we have Jimin's verse where he's being very mean. Where he's like, my rap makes the vocal team wet their pants. Taeyong, please get up. You smell a little fishy. Look me up in advance. And I'm just like, I mean, granted, like, that's a good burn. Like, whatever, like, I whatever he thought he was doing, like, he was trying to be cool, but he just made it so mean. And then afterwards, Tang was just like, I knew you were gonna diss me.
Mm-hmm. But isn't that, like, didn't Tay get his revenge? Isn't it when they have that rap battle, isn't it between Jimin and Tay is like, he just keeps saying, you're sure, and things like that. And he's like, you're not rapping, you're just dissing me.
Wait, what rap battle?
I think it's in one of their, like, Bangtan bombs. It's the one where Yoongi is like, oh, he's like Jay-Z, oh shit. You know that one?
Oh, yeah.
I think that Tay and Jimin go up against each other, and Tay isn't rapping, he's just insulting Jimin. He's like, you're not even rapping, you're just dissing me.
That's the sign of a true friendship, where you're like, hi, this is being recorded, and I don't care, I'm gonna make fun of you. You're being me.
Mm-hmm. It's funny.
Yeah, and then all of the rest of them are like, why are you being so mean? And they, like, make fun of him to Jimin. But yeah, and then I like that they kept recording, and they're like, okay, we're done, let's go eat, I'm hungry. And then you just hear the sound of them leaving and going to get food.
Yeah, and I mean, that's literally the end of the album, like, without the hidden tracks. So it's like them kind of leaving, in the sense of leaving the room and going out to get food, but, like, leaving the album behind. And it's just a really, like, laid back way of finishing your album. So I really like that.
Me too. I like the mental exit that you make from the music as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, back to reality.
Oh, there goes gravity.
Exactly.
All right, are we finally done with our review?
We are done with
awesome
the lyrics.
Okay, so think it's time for a break.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Okay.
야, 내가 죽이는 비트 하나 써왔어. 맨날 찍지만 근데 괜찮대. 또 쩔어? 다 예상하면 알지. 또 지겨운 쌤인데 맨날 괜찮아. 지겨운 쌤 비트 한번 너 들어가 한다는 너희가 해. 얼마나 잘 찍었는지. 야, 나 춘다. 작업은 잘해요. 괜찮은데. 야, 어떻게 나쁘지 않아요? 괜찮지. 야, 오랜만에 사이퍼 때 사이퍼? 그럼 오랜만에 사이퍼 시원하게 한번. 이게 봐. 떨려. 야, 그럼 나부터 할게. 슈가. 오케이, 가볼게. 슈가. 내 이름은 SUGA. 다른 래퍼들은 전부 내 뒤에. 오늘도 새끈한 이 비트 위에 이리 갔다 저리 갔다. 혓바닥을 놀려 너희 랩은 다 졸려. 이 CD 다시 돌려. 우리 음악들은 여성분을 울려. 우리 이름은 방탄. 지금 너네 입에서 나오는 건 감탄? I'm a boy 먼지, I'm a boy 차가. 근데 내 목소리는 서탄. 너는 일탄, 나는 사탄. 나는 너를 치유하는 이 같아. 네 랩은 돼지, 나는 찰록. 너는 리본 돼지, 나는 발로. 캄팔로, 꼰대 롤렉스 비 always. 나한테 어울리는 단어네. 근데 너한테 어울리는 건 좀생이. 아니면 폼페이. 그냥 폭발했지. 상대를 좀 가려. 야, 근데 나 저 오줌 마려. 오늘도 갇혀내 프리스타일 래핑. 이 장단 맞춰면 붐랩 쭉 세팅. 탑 MC 답게 MCM의 구찌 알렉산더 맥큐. 뭐든지 랩 처음 할 때 지금은 달라 비트에 걸음만해. 난 여름 만에 타파 모두 차파. 전국 날봐.
안녕하세요 사이퍼. 그래 형들 랩들 잘 들었어. 남준이 형 가사 이제는 잘 들었어. 형들 이제 랩 실력이 고만해. 칭찬이야 이제는 그만해. 내 앞에 호비 형 긴장하고 있어. 뭐가 떨려 가서 김장하고 있어. 대구 사투리 살아있네. 윤기 형 살아있네.
저기 제이홉이 나와줘. 제이홉 제이홉 나온다. 이건 우리 음악 중에 스킬. 여기서 보여줄게 내 한 칼 스킬. 내 이름 제이홉. 멋있어서 흔적이 남지 like 힙합. 야쌤 광주가 난 힙합. 이거 전라도 랩의 첫 시작. 모두 털어줄게 거덜나게. 우린 멋져 불어 허벌나게. 내 이름은 진. 너 잘생 김. 근데 내 별명 찐따. 최근 들었다가 빠졌지.
그래서
이제 내 별명은 진. 그래서 내 예명 진. 보여줘요? 오픈팀 이름을 보여줘요? 내 이름은 지빈. 여기 보컬 팀들 내 랩의 지림. 태어난 이름대로 냄새나 좀 비림. 내가 누군지 좀 알아봐 미리. 미안해요.
나 뒷살 때부터
안 할게요.
그냥 랩은 안 돼. 이민
소리 알아 이민.
야, 사이프도 끝나는데 밥 어때 밥? 밥 먹을까?
밥만 없어요.
야, 수다가 랍스타 쏜대 가자.
내가 시원하게 쏘게.
나 나라콩 아니면 안 먹어. 나 나라콩.
야 버려 거부터 나. 야 수고해 남과.
간다.
진짜 죄송하다.
갈게요.
가.